In a previous episode of Incoming, the Templin Institute looked at what makes a good flag or emblem, and then critiqued some examples from across alternate worlds. One emblem we didn't look at, however, ended up being mentioned quite a lot in the comments, that of United Nations Space Command. I think the most interesting element of this emblem isn't the design itself, but rather how that design was changed from a perfectly serviceable one to a design that is atrocious. So today on Incoming, we'll be looking at what happened to the UNSC's emblem. Let's start with the original design. The eagle clutching the globe motif has, in my mind, become something of a cliche, and I think there are plenty of other emblems that utilize the same type of imagery, but better. The Global Defense Initiative or Romulan Star Empire, for example. That said, the emblem, specifically the wings, come across as very modern, and I think it fits the tone of the organization it represents. I'm not a huge fan of the stylized feathers. I think it would be a stronger design with them removed, and the same goes for the bottom ribbon emblazoned with the UNSC. This ribbon does act as a nice counterweight to the outstretched wings, but as I mentioned repeatedly in our previous video on flags, if your emblem is meant to represent all of humanity, including just a single language in the design is poor representation. I do give this emblem bonus points, however, for including a generic globe design rather than signaling out the Earth. There are plenty of planets in the UNSC, or at least there used to be, and this design can represent all and any of them. So while I don't think this is the best emblem ever made, I think it's perfectly satisfactory. Okay, so moving on to the new design. Now the biggest change here is obviously the replacement of the modern sleek eagle motif with one that is much more realistic and detailed. This is the exact opposite of what you want in an emblem. Effective design should be simple and easy to identify, even from a distance. This new emblem becomes a muddled mess the moment you shrink it down past a certain size, with details blurring into one another. Moving on to the shield, the one major additional element when compared to the previous design. What's weird here is that while plenty of emblems include shields, they are after all a basic component of heraldry, this one doesn't have any symbolism on it. Instead, it's blank with just some angled lines, which I assume are there to make it seem more futuristic. This contradicts the timeless quality of shields, which is kind of the point of incorporating them into a design in the first place. Instead of evoking any kind of symbolism or history, it just looks tacky, and the details are again too small to be easily distinguishable or memorable. What really ruins this design, however, is the decision to include both the initials, UNSC, and the full name, United Nations Space Command. This is just redundant. I can understand including one or the other, but to have both is just kind of bizarre. Overall, this new design just seems to have been crammed with as many small details as possible, with no thought for what they're meant to represent. The twin circles on either side of the wings have been retained, despite the fact they don't flow as well with the overall shape of the emblem. 3 stars have been added to either side of the globe, but they're too small to be easily discernible. Another star has been placed between the initials of the UNSC, sitting atop 3 pillars for some reason. What does any of this mean? I am almost certain that when this design was being made, the direction was simply, make the old one, but have it be more extreme and cool. This is something you see quite often, but the problem is, emblems and flags aren't designed to be cool, they're intended to be symbolic. While the previous emblem of the UNSC had its issues, it at least followed the fundamentals of good design. This new iteration is just a mess of conflicting styles and redundant elements. Bring back the old design, or better yet, try something new. That, of course, is just my opinion, and while I cannot possibly be wrong, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you prefer the new design of the UNSC's emblem? Do you think I was too hard on the original logo? How come the UNSC doesn't seem to have an actual flag? Let us know in the comments, and until next time, this has been Incoming.
The Templin Institute investigates alternate worlds and realities. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to directly support us, vote in polls to determine future topics, and receive some cool rewards, please consider pledging to our Patreon page.